Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them is the 9th installment in the Harry Potter film franchise, and the first in the franchise to not feature the boy wizard himself.
You're a wizard, Harry.
I'm a what?
Set in New York City, 1926, it is the first film in the franchise to be set entirely outside of the United Kingdom, and also the first film to feature multiple American actors in its cast. As confirmed by J.K. Rowling, we will move forward from our young hero Harry Potter and begin following the adventures of Newt Scamander with 5 feature films spanning across 19 years. While Harry Potter will never be replaced as the face of the franchise, Newt Scamander is a worthy successor. Well, technically, predecessor. Newt and Harry have quite a few differences, most noticeably their age. Newt Scamander was born in 1897, 93 years before Harry Potter was born. His nickname is Newt. His school was Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry, like Harry Potter. He was expelled before he finished after endangering a student with a beast. Albus Dumbledore, who at the time was the professor of Transfiguration, argued strongly against his expulsion. His house was Hufflepuff. Loser. His occupation was a magizoologist, and his most notable work is the textbook Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them. And by the time Harry Potter enrolled in Hogwarts, this textbook was in its 52nd edition. Harry Potter was born in 1980, a Reagan baby, or a Thatcher baby. His nickname, the boy who lived, chosen one, master of death. I think Harry has Newt beat in the nickname game. Harry Potter, first of his name, the chosen one, Triwizard Champion, the master of death, the boy who lived, and destroyer of Horcruxes. His school, as we all know, Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry. Now, Harry dropped out before he was able to graduate because, he had to go do something. I don't know. Both of these guys are college dropouts. They're like Kanye West and LeBron James. House, Gryffindor, occupation, Aura, and his most notable achievement. Newt Scamander doesn't come with all the prophesized greatness of Harry Potter, but he does have a magical suitcase.
It was open?
Just a smidge.
After being expelled from Hogwarts, Newt joins the Ministry of Magic and began working in the Department of Regulation and Control of Magical Creatures. Scamander is essentially the Steve Irwin of the magical world. His mother was a breeder of hippogriffs, which led to his obsession and love for magical creatures at a young age. His extensive knowledge and love for magical creatures led to a series of promotions within the Ministry of Magic. And in 1918, he was commissioned by Augustus Worm to write the first edition of the Fantastic Beasts textbook, an extensive book detailing magizoology and magical creatures. Shortly before the book's completion, Newt travels to New York, where his enchanted suitcase containing several magical creatures is accidentally opened by Jacob Kowalski. Newt then flees America and lives the rest of his life as a fugitive from the ministry. Oh wait, no, sorry. Newt then proceeds to track down the magical creatures with the help of Kowalski and his future wife, Porpetina Goldstein, a former Aura for the Magical Congress of the United States of America. J.K. Rowling has actually incorporated the real-life Salem witch trials in her history of North American magic, and in this movie there is a hate group called the New Salem Philanthropic Society that is actively searching for and killing witches and wizards across America. In addition to the prosecution of witches and wizards, magical beings and non-magical beings are segregated in America. But magic in America isn't all sad and filled with bigotry and less impressive magical idioms. One of the cooler differences is that America kind of sucks at Quidditch, of course. We suck at my 2 favorite sports. We suck at soccer and we suck at Quidditch. Typical American. The most popular sport in America is called Quodpod, which is essentially Quidditch on steroids. Now, the goal of this game is to get the Quidditch ball into the quad pot before it explodes. So you have 2 teams, they're trying to get the ball in the pot before it blows up. It's such an American sport. This is why I love J.K. Rowling. Ilvermorny is basically the distant cousin to Hogwarts, 600 years younger. Ilvermorny was established by an Irish immigrant named Iseult Sayre, who immigrated to America via the Mayflower. She eventually married a Muggle named James Stewart and founded the school after adopting 2 magically gifted boys. And they named the school's houses after their favorite creatures: Thunderbird, Wampus, the Horned Serpent, and Puckwudgie. Which I'm assuming that Puckwudgie is the Hufflepuff of Ilvermorny. Speaking of, every time I take the sorting hat test on Pottermore, it's always giving me Slytherin. I can put any answer. I can cater my answers to Gryffindor, and it gives me Slytherin. I thought you were allowed to have a say. I thought you can put a word in with the sorting hat. Not Slytherin. Slytherin! God damn it. I'm here with Harry Potter historian, Marissa Cortez. First time on NerdTube. I want to talk about first the American setting. Now, you made up a point just before we recorded that this movie really could have taken place anywhere.
Oh yeah, definitely. It basically looked like they took London and then they put it in New York. This is New York now, but it wasn't. The very beginning scene where Graves was like talking about like, oh, a beast must have done this. It basically looked like it was the most set-like place I've ever seen in my whole life.
Right, like you can tell it was not filmed in New York.
Even the big fight scene at the end where everyone was looking, and I saw in the newspapers when they were obliviating everyone at the end,
right,
that it was supposed to be in Times Square, and I was like, Times Square? What?
Wasn't that like, it was like a subway?
I want to say it was supposed to be, did Penn Station exist in 1924? I don't know.
Stats, you're going to have to fact check that. They're not exploiting the New York setting. As an American Harry Potter fan, I always dreamed about seeing American wizards. To take a movie and place it in the 1920s, the heart of the roaring 20s, when you have all this culture, all this vibrancy.
I would have loved if they could have sort of done like what The Great Gatsby did and show like the opulence and stuff, but also the fact that it was going downhill. The Great Depression is like only a few years away.
Right, it's
and
right
like
around
World
the corner.
War I just ended. They mentioned it briefly with Jacob, right? That's his name?
Right, yeah, Kowalski.
Jacob, yeah, how he just, by the way, I love that dude.
Him and
comedic relief, he did a good job.
Him and Queenie, the sister, the mind reader.
Yeah.
I thought they had great chemistry. I thought they were the 2 best additions to the cast.
As far as like new characters that like we didn't really know, like I thought they were the best.
Tina was good too.
But like, I don't know.
Now, I thought the way they could have handled this movie is they could have established her as the Auror that wants to take down the New Salem witch organization.
Yeah,
the hate
I wish
group.
they mentioned briefly how she was an Auror and then she got taken off the squad because she went after the Ma. Does she have a name?
Mary Lou.
Mary Lou, because she went after Mary Lou because she was beating Credence.
And
like
she
that was
tries
only...
to obliviate her. She tries to just wipe her memory, and that's how she gets her status taken away.
Yeah,
I thought that could have been a good opening.
It could, yeah, like if it had begun like that, if they had focused any more on the New Salem group at all, besides they got like 3 scenes.
They did not build them up
so
as the villains because
yeah.
They're a hate group, essentially. I mean, the undertone of the movie is the segregation between non-wizards, the Nomad, which phonetically is horrible compared to
Nomad. I was like, what?
You wiped his memory, right? The no magic.
The what?
No magic. The non-wizard.
Sorry, we call them muggles.
It is like American, a typical American lexicon where it's not as appeasing to the ear.
Madam President, though, I was like, hello, 1920s?
Yeah, that was like...
I mean, I thought it was cool. Like, I don't like if they wanted to make... I don't know.
There's like a Hamilton vibe to it,
yeah,
where they're not acknowledging...
Because they did that, they should have acknowledged everything else that was going on in the United States more.
Right, and they tried to code it with wizards and non-wizards, the actual struggle in the United States at the time, which is so funny. Of course America would hate wizards. With Harry Potter, Voldemort is a villain that you love, but one of their greatest villains was Umbridge.
Oh yeah, because
that's a villain
it's
that you hate. Like,
yeah.
You want to see her defeated.
I read something once that Voldemort is kind of this like abstract evil that we know exists, but
right.
Not many people have personal experience with. But Umbridge is like the teacher you hated in high school.
Exactly. She fits the bill for the perfect villain. It was like Cobra in Planet of the Apes.
Yeah.
You just wanted to see this guy taken down. You wanted to see him die. And Umbridge is... Mary Lou could have been the American counterpart to Umbridge.
Yeah,
where
and
we see the way she's
she was
treating
totally
these.
Underutilized.
The biggest problem I had with this movie is that I felt it was too unfocused. Just the first 30 to 45 minutes, they were trying to establish all these different subplots. This is Newt Scamander, the writer, and this is the New Salem Witches, and this is the American Wizards, and this is the Baker. It felt a little schizophrenic to me. She kind of wrote the movie assuming that everybody knows the lore of Harry Potter.
Yeah, because like obviously both of us have seen the movies, read all the books, so it's like we knew. I could kind of fill in the gaps between what was going on. One of my friends has not, like, I went to see the movie with her and she didn't read Harry Potter at all. She watched the movies, that was it, but it's not like they talk about Newt Scamander that much.
Unless you know the lore of Harry Potter, you're going to be very confused. I thought it could have used more exposition. Hi, I'm Newt. I got commissioned to write this textbook on magical creatures. I'm in New York because of this.
Yeah, like we weren't even really sure why he was in New York.
There was a species that he wanted to
like
buy.
I think it was a thunderbird for the Ilvermorny houses. One of the houses is Thunderbird, and I think that's what that bird was. But like I remember on Pottermore, they were going to this whole thing about Ilvermorny, and it was mentioned once in the movie, and I was like...
When they were comparing the schools.
Speaking of schools, LeStrange... Newt Scamander?
Yeah.
That little drop, I was like, ooh, what happened there?
And she's being played by Zoe Kravitz.
I saw in the theater, I was like, Zoe?
Zoe? What the hell are you doing there? Apparently, he was covering for her when he got expelled at Hogwarts.
Oh, I didn't know that.
It was her that did something with a beast and endangered a student, and he was covering for her. So, I mean, she's got the lineage in her family.
Yeah, like LeStrange. That's also another thing, though, that if you didn't know much about the books or the movies, that last name wouldn't have meant anything to you.
No, completely. When I heard it, I turned to everybody and I was like, did you hear that? And the bigger one, the Grindelwald reveal. You know, for me, it was awesome. Oh my God, that was Grindelwald. And for everybody else, it's kind of like, oh my God, that was Johnny Depp. What the hell is he doing in there? I didn't think he was going to be in this one. I knew he was casted for the next one.
Yeah, because I remember because of the whole thing that happened with him, a lot of people are mad that he's going to be in this like franchise now.
Right.
But I had no idea he was going to be in this movie. I thought that like if you're going to use Johnny Depp, not have 5-second cameo.
And if you're
where
going to use Colin Farrell, use Colin Farrell. Because he basically doesn't exist as a character now. He's done. It was only a glimpse, but it was typical Johnny Depp. Ooh, look at me, I'm the offbeat dark wizard. I'm the Jack Sparrow
I felt
counterpart
like
of Dumbledore.
Grindelwald is Johnny Depp's Grindelwald looks to...
He looks like a Hot Topic Grindelwald.
Yeah.
He looks like the Jared Leto Joker Grindelwald.
Yes.
Really, really bad.
Where's the tattoo that says damaged on his forehead, honestly?
Deathly Hollows. I will find them. I love Grindelwald as a character because if you don't really know about him, he's not necessarily the villain that Voldemort was, where his goal was absolute power and
like
destruction.
him and Dumbledore are like BFF. He has to be a person.
He was an ideologue.
To be fair, though, in this movie, when he was like, why are we hiding? I couldn't understand why the American Makusa, right? That's what they call themselves?
Right.
Makusa. I was like, Makusa?
Compared to the Ministry of Magic.
Yeah.
Everything just flows so much better in England.
I couldn't understand why they were so desperate to keep humans. Maybe if they had talked more about like the new Salem.
How evil they are.
They kept saying, oh, you're going to have a war break out between the humans and the wizards. But I saw really no...
There was no conflict between the non-wizards and the wizards.
Like, it seemed like the new Salem group were just like these outliers. Like they didn't really have many supporters. And I thought if maybe they had that politician dude at the beginning.
Right, Shaw.
But he existed essentially just to die and to show this obscurus power.
The whole thing was that if you oppress people for so long, eventually they're going to crack.
Which I thought was really interesting, like the fact that like people suppressing their magic for so long can sort of turn into this evil.
Because they don't establish any conflict between the wizards and the non-wizards.
Yeah,
so it didn't really make sense.
Essentially, it was like all, besides Jacob, all the other non-wizard people were just there. Like, everyone gets obliviated at the end, and that's sort of it. I also didn't understand why they were so adamant to not let anyone know that an Obscurus was existing.
It was kind of like the Ministry when they didn't want to admit that Voldemort was back.
He's back.
They had a lot of good things set up, but I wish more had been done with all of it.
Well, it almost felt like they crammed 3 movies into one. Because they had all these great storylines that kind of just end by the end of the movie. There's no potential for an Ezra Miller return. He's dead.
I was surprised that they did that. I thought they were going to save him somehow. Throughout the movie, though, I was wondering, like, why is this Graves dude so invested in Credence, the Obscurus, and finding it? Like, what does he want to use it for? Which makes me want to know, what does Grindelwald want to use it for? But, like, they just killed him, so I felt like they kind of destroyed any potential for that.
Do you think Grindelwald got himself caught on purpose? Grindelwald, the way they describe him, the second most powerful dark wizard of all time in the Harry Potter universe. Voldemort before Voldemort.
He had to have.
Because like, there's no way they're taking him out.
The only person who was able to beat him was Dumbledore. And like apparently they were like best friends, and so that had to have hurt Dumbledore to like...
Now, I'm not exactly sure about the continuity, but at that time he should have the Elder Wand.
So wow, I totally forgot about that. But remember, he gave Credence the Deathly Hallows necklace.
Was that the resurrection? Oh, that was the symbol.
The symbol, yeah.
Okay, so maybe he doesn't have the wand yet.
It might be like maybe before that. I wish that they had clarified that a little bit.
Maybe he doesn't have have the wand, and well, this is going to be a 5-film franchise.
Oh yeah.
So we're going to see more.
And it's going over a period of
19 years.
Yeah, like a really long time. Which, I mean, I'm glad it does that, I guess. I guess we'll see more of the Elder Wand and Grindelwald later.
Young Dumbledore is going to be in the next one. Who do you think should play young Dumbledore? I think Michael Fassbender would be a great choice. He's got the Irish accent. Because I'm going off Gambone. I know a lot of people want Jared Harris, the son of Richard Harris, to play young Dumbledore. But to me, Dumbledore is Gambone. Regardless of what you think of Richard Harris, he had more movies. You know, it's a shame that Richard Harris had to die. Would you like Jared Harris as a young Dumbledore?
I could see it, yeah. When I Googled the picture of him before.
He's a terrific actor. If you've seen the Sherlock Holmes movies, he's really good.
I think it'd be a nice nod.
Yeah, I guess so. Have him finish the character as the young Dumbledore for what his dad couldn't do. So, do you like Depp as Grindelwald?
I think he looks too, like you said, like a Hot Topic Grindelwald. Like he doesn't, I feel like the way he looked didn't mesh with what we saw of the Wizarding World, if that makes any sense. Like,
right.
I know it's like ridiculous and like fantastical, but I feel like Grindelwald is, he just wants wizards to not be in hiding anymore. So I feel like
he's like the Magneto of the Harry Potter world. He needs to look like he could be a regular guy.
When I saw Johnny Depp, I immediately thought of Charlie and the Chocolate Factory and his Willy Wonka, honestly. His characters are always weird. That's not what this Grindelwald needed.
People always say with Johnny Depp that he transforms himself into his characters, but I feel like he takes his characters and he transforms them into Johnny Depp. That's really
people are
what
like,
he's doing.
all his characters are so different, but I feel like they're all
Johnny Depp.
Yeah.
There's two types of actors. There's the actor like Tom Hanks that's great at playing himself, and then there's the actor like a Jared Leto who goes method with every role. He can play the weird guy. Johnny Depp cannot play a normal character, so you know that Grindelwald is going to be eccentric. He's going to be offbeat. He's going to be awkward, and that's not really what I want with that character. I guess we have to give him a chance.
He sort of like goes off the rails when he gets all this power. That's the kind of character I feel like he needs to be, and I don't think
we're going to get the second stage of that evolution only. We're not going to see the beginning. I thought Leonardo DiCaprio would have been a better choice. If you're going to go with an American actor, because there were no American actors in the original Harry Potter movies.
Yeah,
not
J.K.
one.
Rowling was like, yes, all British people, please.
She was very adamant about that. What do you think about the special effects and the magic?
I thought they really like the apparating in the last.
There's a lot of apparating.
A lot of apparating. Like in Harry Potter, apparating was like this whole big deal. Like Ron got splinched because they did it too fast and they weren't careful. I feel like in this one they're like, oh, apparating? Okay, let's go. People had to train.
Wizards.
You had to get licenses to do it. All this stuff. Like that's a whole big part of the 6th book. Harry learning how to apparate.
They made it too easy.
I like the creatures. Obviously they looked like they were CGI. I didn't mind it.
I like the little thief.
Yeah.
The klepto, he was cool. Yeah, I thought that was the best part of the movie, them trying to, it's a cliched plot.
I wish they had they had to look for more of the beasts. There were only 3 or 4 that they needed to find.
Right.
And the movie's called Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them, but it's actually Fantastic Beasts. 3 of them get lost in New York City, and then we'll find them in the first half of the movie.
And then we'll fight Grindelwald.
Surprise.
It's really a prequel almost for what's to come. In the Harry Potter, the original movies, the 4 weakest films are the 4 last films. Order of the Phoenix, Half-Blood Prince.
Order of the Phoenix sucks as a movie, honestly. That book was so good. That movie should have been 2 parts. I'll say this until I die, but
no, because it's the longest book. And the Dumbledore-Voldemort battle, that battle in the book,
it's crazy.
It's insane. And the movie I thought did it well, but it was too short. But what do all those 4 movies have in common? It's director David Yates, and I feel with his directing style, he doesn't really bring a vibrancy to the visuals of the movie. Everything is always gray and blue. It's got like a depressing feel to it. The colors don't really pop.
Yeah, I felt like a 1920s New York that has magic should have been bright.
What would you give it out of 10?
A solid 7.
Yeah, 7 out of 10?
7.
I'll probably go 5. So even it out at 6 out of 10. I think that's a fair score.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it. I didn't dislike the movie.
I'm definitely going to go see the next one.
Hell yeah. I'll go. If it came out tomorrow, I'd go see it.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
I will see anything that she does for the rest of her life. Are you ready to accept that Game of Thrones is superior to Harry Potter?
Yeah.